This is Christian Gomez with the New American Magazine, and back with us on the program is Chapman Chen, coming to us all the way from Hong Kong. Chapman, thank you for joining us again on the program for a third time. We're delighted to have you back.
Thank you, Christian, for having me. Hello, everybody.
Absolutely. Thank you. You're welcome. So, Chapman, last news, we heard the news that broke that the United States government, President Trump, and Robert Lighthizer, our U.S. trade representative, along with Xi Jinping and the Communist Party government and their negotiators, reached an agreement on a new trade deal, at least the first phase of the new trade deal. Can you comment a little bit about that trade deal and its significance for China-U.S. relations, but also what it means to Hong Kong?
Yes, Christian. By reaching a phase one trade deal with China, I think President Donald Trump is probably playing games with China for two major reasons. Number one, Trump is well aware that China will violate the agreement. Uh, in which case,
Why would you say that, Chapman?
uh, well, because the agreement requires China to stop intervening in foreign exchange markets, to stop stealing U.S. intellectual property, to stop manipulating
Which
renminbi.
that's a good thing if China was to actually do that, correct?
Correct. But that will deprive China of its major means of getting rich and powerful, and also to double purchases of U.S. agriculture products will destroy China's agricultural economy, and also to open up its financial services market will make the CCP unable to grip the whole country firmly. So,
So this agreement
so
sounds,
Trump,
from what you're saying, it sounds unfavorable to communist China. So why did the Chinese agree to this? And I believe you were going to say something about President Trump. Go on.
well, I think Trump is well aware that China will not abide by the trade deal, in which case the U.S. will have every justification to penalize and even to put an end to China, which is the number one national security threat to the USA, as put by the State Secretary Mike Pompeo and Senator Marco Rubio. And the US may then impose an over 40% tariff on all China goods, among other harsh measures like ending the Hong Kong Policy Act. And, and I think, secondly, President Trump can, with this trade deal, President Trump can counteract the impact of the impeachment and consolidate his uh, rural voter base for the coming election. So,
What would be the significance if, let's say hypothetically, this deal goes all the way through, China violates it, and President Trump does issue, let's say, a 40% tariff on Chinese goods, which would be huge and almost unprecedented. If President Trump did do a 40% tariff on Chinese goods, how would that affect communist China?
well, that will mean that China's economy is bound to go bankrupt, to go broke, because no one will do businesses that are bound to fail, that are bound to lose money. So all foreign investments will withdraw from China, and even local businessmen will no longer invest there.
But on the other side of the coin, wouldn't Xi Jinping and his Communist Party advisors, wouldn't they probably expect potentially this to happen, knowing that if they violate the terms of the agreement, that Trump could take those actions, or whoever the U.S. president is? So what do you believe China would do to maybe counteract any kind of tariff? Or are you saying that if President Trump does do a 40% tariff in the event of a violation on the part of China, that it's over for China?
Well, I think it will be over for China. Anyway, China very seldom or rarely keeps its words. is violation of the WTO regulations, and also its dismissal of the Sino-British Joint Declaration as an outdated document are cases in point. So
Now, that British document, when was that document signed again?
1984. So
And Communist China has done nothing but violate it since. So, considering Communist China's history or proclivity for breaking its word and not fulfilling the terms of its agreements, we shouldn't expect Communist China to abide by its word in this case either. So, you're saying that the incentive for being in favor of this agreement would only be because of the punitive actions that the U.S. could take against China in terms of U.S. incentive.
exactly, agreed. So, China just want to buy time for its survival, and of course, President Trump also wants to buy time.
Is the fall of Communist China inevitable, or do they have a chance to last another 100 years?
I don't think it stands a chance of lasting very long because, well, especially if all the civilized countries enact the Magnitsky Act and freeze the overseas assets of China and Hong Kong officials for their violation of human rights in Hong Kong and in Xinjiang, and if the U.S. also cancel the Hong Kong Policy Act of 1992, then China will not be able to exchange renminbi for U.S. dollars while Hong Kong dollars. Then they are bound to collapse.
So, in other words, if the United States imposes, if it freezes the assets of Communist Chinese Party officials, if it imposes high tariffs on Communist China, especially the goods that they produce, and if we do these other measures that you are suggesting, you're saying that all of those combined would be enough economic pressure to cut the head sort of off the tail, the head off the snake, so to speak, to bring Communist China to its knees. So China's economic lifeline virtually comes from the current trade relation with the U.S. And if we could end that trade relation, you're saying Communist China would cease to be able to continue going on as it has for the past several decades.
Exactly. And also, if the U.S. would lobby other civilized countries to enact the Magnitsky Act and freeze the overseas assets of China and Hong Kong government officials, then China's end is imminent.
What is your opinion about U.S. diplomatic recognition of Communist China? So President Richard Nixon and Jimmy Carter, they shifted U.S. recognition from the Republic of China on the island of Taiwan to the People's Republic in the mainland, the Communist Party regime. Should the U.S. no longer recognize the Communist Party regime in the mainland and instead resume official negotiations and recognition with the Republic of China government on the Taiwan island?
Oh, yes, I think so. And because now threat China is even more dangerous than the Soviet Union in the Cold War, and because China is infiltrating the U.S. in all domains, and by financial investments and also by immigration, and also by sending academics and students to the U.S. That's so-called non-traditional espionage. So,
non-traditional espionage.
Right. And so, Hong Kong is still useful to the U.S. As an international financial, cultural, and intelligence and geopolitical center.
Absolutely.
And also,
for decades,
Hong
Kong has ranked for decades as one of the most economically free places in the world. Now, I believe that Communist China is taking some actions that would shift that sort of economic prosperity away from Hong Kong and give it to another place in the nearby region. Can you tell us a little bit about that as well?
Exactly. Chairman Xi Jinping is going to visit Macau this week, and he will probably announce a number of policies that will aim at replacing Hong Kong with Macau as an international financial center and as a renminbi settlement center and as a yuan-based denominated stock exchange because Hong Kong has revolted against China tyranny since June this year. So, but I think they won't succeed. I think it is a bad job because foreign investors prefer to use Hong Kong as a springboard for entering China because on the ground, because Hong Kong has financial talent. Hong Kong has a time-honored legal system, and Hong Kong has enterprises that possess international credit. And and in the and as for Macau, Fitch Rating has just revised its rating outlook on Macau from stable to negative due to Macau's closer connections with mainland China. And in the last 10 months, Hong Kong accounted for 72% of China's foreign direct investment. And, uh, and also, while Macau only accounted for 1.3% of China's FDI. And for the last last 6 years, the annual share of Hong Kong of China's ODI, that is overseas direct investment, has been 60%, while Macau is not even among the top 20.
So Macau is clearly not as economically prosperous, or well, is not as economically prosperous as Hong Kong is. So how exactly would China uplift or build Macau to replace Hong Kong as a sort of economic hub for Southeast Asia? What would Communist China do to
I think
accomplish
it is
that?
simply impossible because, as I first said, China intends to build up Macau into a yuan-denominated stock exchange and a renminbi settlement center. But in the whole world, probably only Iran is the only country that accepts renminbi in place of USD on its official currency rate reporting platform. So, uh, so, uh, Hong Kong is indispensable to China. But as I said last time, it is the nature of the CCP to control everything. So they would even sacrifice Hong Kong's economic value in order to purge Hong Kong dissidents and in order to deprive Hong Kongers of their God-given right to life, to liberty, and to property.
Okay, thank you so much, Chapman, for joining us on the program. Is there any last final words that you'd like to add just before we wrap up here?
Well, again, as I said last time, a genocide is going on in Hong Kong. 2019 Hong Kong is 1939 Poland. So, so we wish the West would rescue Hong Kong. Otherwise, China will move on to invade the rest of the free world. So keep America great and make Hong Kong great again.
Absolutely. History repeats itself, and may God be with the people of Hong Kong and their freedom as they face what Poland faced when it was under the onslaught of both Nazi Germany and the Soviet Union. So take care, Chapman. Stay safe. God bless you. And like your hat says, make Hong Kong great again.
Thank you, Christian. God bless.
God bless you too.